Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
All right, so we are back. My voice is a little bit back. In Florida, South Florida, we're still in one piece. Fort Lauderdale, it skipped us. I don't even think we got any rain. I don't know how much rain we got yesterday.
Drizzle.
Not a lot.
It was like 30-mile-an-hour winds peak around 2 a.m.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was it. However, some other places was a different story. Some places, 12, 16 inches of rain. Tropicana Stadium lost the, what do you call it, the roof.
The Tampa Bay Rays played.
Lieutenant Dan, you know the guy on the boat? He made it. He survived.
Did he really?
He slept. He goes, I slept for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
He did math. Probably did math.
This is the baseball stadium.
That's the baseball stadium that went through.
Mr. October.
The tragedy about that is they had set that up for first responders so that they were way out ahead of the storm.
To house 5,000 people, and then apparently that happened. But there was a lot of guys that were actually
see all the cots?
That's insane.
This would be the equivalent of during Hurricane Katrina. Remember they put everybody in the Superdome?
Yeah.
The whole thing comes up.
That's right.
Tear the roof off.
But Pat, here's my thing though. From a construction standpoint, you guys know that this place gets hit all the time. You would think that would be a little bit more fortified for something like that.
Tropicana Stadium did get $750 from FEMA.
Oh, then forget it. They're fine. Oh, they're fine.
And
that's not more than $750.
No. They're going to be fine.
Not
no, you can get like a couple
per household.
Couple
so they get
tarps on Amazon Prime.
One of the stories we are going to talk about is Florida insurance. We're going to talk about insurance, how the impact of it, because insurance companies are sitting around saying, imagine you're an insurance company right now saying, is it worth staying in Florida? That's the conversations they're having. Is it worth staying, or my insurance is going to skyrocket to God knows what levels? Anyways, we'll talk about that as well. We pray for the people that are up there, fans, listeners. We hope you're doing well, your family's safe. We had a lot of people here that had friends and family that were up there, and everybody seems to be good with us, but we're hoping the same is with you as well. Teamsters Union President talks comedian Theo Vaughn that Democrats have effed us over for the last 40 years. We'll talk about that. Trump and Putin have had as many as 7 private phone calls since Trump left the White House, per Bob Woodward's new book. Okay, podcast host laughs when Trump describes himself as basically a truthful person. By the way, is this a Schulz?
Schulz. Yeah, it's Schulz.
I thought he crushed it. I thought the way he opened it up was phenomenal. I thought they did a great job. Most in new poll say economy most important issue in election. Trump gets the edge. Biden undermines Harris' claim that Ron DeSantis is politicizing. You have to see this clip. He doesn't even want to play the game. It's almost as if Vinny's right and he's kind of going against Kamala, opposing everything she does. Who knows? Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. Kamala's answers on The View and Colbert. If you haven't seen it, we have to talk about it. And then 60 Minutes. What does 60 Minutes do? They air 2 different answers for a question asked about Netanyahu. You got to see both. By the way, Tuesday's podcast was taken down moments after it was up. Part of it, YouTube told us it's CBS. They told us it was a glitch. Whatever it is, if it goes down here on YouTube, we're always on Apple. We're always on Spotify. You can always find us on Spotify and Apple. And the great thing about Spotify, there's also video playing, but we're available on both of them. But apparently CBS didn't like us talking about that Kamala interview. That's what we were told by the folks at YouTube. We'll talk about the hurricane. Rate cuts. A lot of people are asking a weird question saying, how is it that we cut the rates and the mortgage rates were supposed to go down, but the opposite is happening? How's that even possible? We'll talk about that. Keith Olbermann is having another meltdown over Elon Musk, asking for him to be deported. He's literally asking President Biden to deport him. Piers Morgan had to apologize to Beyoncé and Jay Z as their lawyers issued Diddy denial. Story came and he had to get on. You saw the clip.
And the lawyer, Pat, the one that you told me about, he made a video saying, no, we're not going out. We just told them we're not going to go forward unless you guys apologize and take it down.
Who's the lawyer?
The one that we were talking about. The
same lawyer?
Same lawyer.
Spiro.
Spiro. I'm going to send him the video.
Really?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Then, last but not least, this is an interesting story. And we got a bunch of clips we'll show you. Top songs chosen by dying people for their final moments revealed.
Really?
The
Top 10
final
songs.
countdown.
Can you imagine what the songs are? We'll play it. And then Tom had a good idea. Tom said, how about the songs of people that are glad they're leaving? What song would they play? I had my number one pick. Maybe we'll give you that.
Are we going to do that today? We're going to do that?
We will probably do that today. We got a bunch of other topics. These are just some of the ones. He's got stuff he wants to talk about with Doug Emhoff. By the way, to some of you guys that are true believers, let me tell you, I respect your game. Here's why. I told you on Tuesday that we're releasing the first ever 1 out of 50 hat, numbered. We've done 1 out of 500. We've done 1 out of 250. We've done 1 out of 100. This is 1 out of 50. These things that were 1 out of 250 were selling on eBay for $499. A couple guys sold it for $999. These are numbered, okay? We won't do these again, numbered. Some of you guys purchased it after midnight. The moment the system unlocked it that's available, people went and bought it already. But the 47 is still available because, you know, it's Future Looks Bright 2024. So again, 1 out of 50, numbered. If you want to get one of these numbered Future Looks Bright, white and gold, valuetainment hats with the American flag on the side, go to vtmerch.com, place your order. By the way, while you're there, pick up some other gear as well. We're going to send you a bunch of gifts on the side. You'll be surprised what's coming to you, but get some gear, especially to those of you that are planning on joining us November 5th, election night party. We cannot wait to have you guys with us that night. Having said that, Rob, just for shits and giggles, let's start off with the CBS clip first.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
I love it.
So we just started off. So this is CBS. They're interviewing Kamala. They're being asked a question about, she's being asked a question about Netanyahu. The actual answer was leaked, but then there is the edited answer that they released to you and I. Rob, go on and play the clip.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
So I got a question. And I just want to go straight to it. Is there anything wrong with CBS editing the answers to be tighter because they're still solving for advertisers? Or should they just put whatever's out there knowing it's less entertaining versus a tighter thing? Tom, what do you think?
Well, it's one thing to shorten an answer and maybe if it's a little repetitive, like somebody says something and then at the end they say, so that's the reason I feel this way. And they take that part out so it's a shorter answer. So it's for broadcast length. That happens all the time. It happens in sports. You have a guy after the game and they ask the player something. He gives them a long answer and the first half of it is what they use. But that doesn't affect the substance and the accuracy, more importantly, of what the person said. Well, I think what CBS did is they committed the cardinal sin. They're editing for, likability and polish. When you're trying to polish the subject of an interview, that's a hell of a lot different from just shortening an answer so that it fits in the broadcast.
I personally, Pat, because we haven't heard her, everything from her is canned. Everything from her is so fake. Like even yesterday when they were doing the hurricane briefing, her staffers, she got caught. Her staffers were giving her the question. She had to cover up her mouth. She's telling them.
I'm on a live podcast.
Is this the one?
This is it, Pat. Yeah, this is it.
Rob.
Flood. We really got to watch those areas and those communities. So it takes quite a while for that water to drain.
And they're giving her a question.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Ken, I have a question for you. You mentioned words matter, and I know there's a lot of media following this briefing.
Yeah, but by the way, so to answer your question, I don't like it. I want her, we want to hear her sit there and speak. Just like Trump's going on these podcasts. Trump is sitting in front of Andrew Schulz with the whole crew and just going in. I want to hear as much as her and her nonsense as possible, and I want her to be exposed. But I mean, CBS, think about it, PBD, they're all leftist. Every CBS, ABC, MSNBC, they're all trying to protect her.
He did a great job.
He did amazing.
What was his name again?
Bill Whitaker.
It's not Bill Withers. That's Ain't No Sunshine.
Ain't no sunshine when she.
No, is it Bill?
Ain't no truth.
Bill
when I
Whitaker.
interview.
Yeah, which great job. But here's my question, guys.
Bill Withers.
Just like a little bit off. Do you think that he had to tell her? Did she know those questions were coming? Do you think?
I don't know, because her face was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She did not look comfortable in this interview. I don't want to throw 60 minutes on. I actually thought, to be honest, I think this was the best interview done on her
so far
by anybody and everybody. Watch this. Go to Flip Side with the Call Her Daddy podcast with Alex Cooper, right? They showed how that podcast, after 3 days, got some 480,000 views, and how Andrew Schulz's podcast with Trump, after 8 hours, got 500,000 views. People are not interested in Kamala. She's boring, okay? They're just not. People were interested in Bill Clinton. People were interested in Obama. People were interested in even Pete Buttigieg. I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
People were interested in Andrew Yang at the time when he was talking about UBI. About UBI.
Yeah, of course.
She's just not interesting, because if I ask you the following, watch this, Tom, I want you to think about this. Ready? I'm going to give a name, and I want you to think about a unique policy that only represented that candidate.
Okay.
You ready? Andrew Yang.
UBI.
Okay, perfect. Obama.
Universal big.
Obamacare.
National health
Gotta
care.
go to
No,
healthcare.
Clinton.
Monica Lewinsky.
Cigars.
Other than that,
Cigars.
decent prosperity.
National health care. National health care. He
did.
did the State of the Union address, and he held up a card. This will be your health care card. That was his banner for that
Okay.
first term.
Romney.
Mitt Romney.
Is Mick
Watch what happens. Right there. Vanilla.
Just a little vanilla.
Benghazi would be the only thing, but that's not a policy.
Yeah.
No, that was
That's
a debate
crisis.
point. Right.
Exactly. If I go to Trump, what would you say?
Border,
America first.
economy. Oh
Jobs
my
in
God.
America.
NATO, a
border.
lot.
Okay.
America for everything.
Lock her up.
If you go to Biden, who do you say?
Ice cream.
I'm not Trump.
That's right. If you go to Kamala, what do you say?
I'm not Biden.
I was
policy
born
was
in
the
a
border.
middle-class family.
Nothing
middle
with
class.
Kamala. I don't know
Trump with a middle
anything.
If you go to DeSantis, what do you say?
Ooh, yeah, conservative principles.
It's basically Trump light.
Further conservative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the point is, there's never, ever been a more vanilla, and I know this sounds weird to say this because, there's never been a more vanilla candidate than Kamala Harris. Never.
Well, yeah,
There's never been more boring vanilla candidate that nobody is looking forward to hearing what she has to say because it's not unique than her.
And,
Well,
and
think about
she
it.
has
This is the
nothing.
first candidate who had never went through a primary. She didn't have to do what Trump did in 2015, 2016 when he had to go boom, 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 and knock down the entire establishment. This was the exact opposite. This was the establishment saying, all right, Kamala, you're up. Joe's out, you're in. And you talked about comfortable on CBS, right?
Yeah.
How she looked a little uncomfortable. Well, good. You're supposed to be a little uncomfortable. You know, the whole saying, your comfort zone will kill you. Every single podcast she's done or every single interview she's done has been comfortable. Even Call Her Daddy. You're going to call her daddy? You think that she's going to give her pressing questions? This was the first interview where they actually challenged her. And now they're saying that's basically the demise of Kamala. I don't know what this is. Apparently, I don't know. Why are they editing? What are they moving out? I don't know. We don't know the answer to it. But if you can say one thing about Trump, this guy will go anywhere, anytime, with any person. Schultz, Theo Vaughn, he'll go to CNN. He went town hall. Caitlin Collins.
Dude.
Trump will show up anywhere.
Yeah.
The comfort zone ain't killing him. He's gonna go he's gonna go fight for what he believes.
To go to that brand, the fact that Obama thought she was the right candidate to pick. Obama, they say this is his pick.
Him and Pelosi was like the second in the wings.
But they saying this is his pick, right? There is nothing marketable with her to tell. Like, for example, years ago, before I started a YouTube channel, I go to this man named Bill Vogel. And I said, Bill, I'm thinking about starting a channel and sharing some of my content of what's worked for me. He said, be careful doing it. I said, why is that? He says, because most people run out of content. Yeah. I said, what a feedback. He says, if you do, some of that content you could have sold, now you can't because you're going to run out. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to run out of content because I'm engaged. But he was right. Most people do run out of content. Most people do their 15 episodes. It does well. Then they just keep saying
Recycling
the same
stuff.
because there's nothing else, right? Very few people can stay fresh telling stories. Trump will never run out of content.
Ever.
Obama's not going to run out of content.
No.
Okay, there's certain people that are not. That she's just.
Hillary has been out of content since she opened her mouth. Like she has not.
By the way,
like,
you know her book comes out. Okay, this is the former what title?
Secretary of State.
Secretary of
Okay.
State.
First,
What else?
Madam, whatever. She's a
You know
president.
how many copies she sold her book last week? First week, how many copies it sold?
1,000 copies.
Please tell me 2,000.
No. It's guys. Typically, it's like a few 100,000 copies first week. Her book first week, 27,000 copies.
Oh,
What's the precedent for something
Something
like that?
lost, something gained.
I would use that.
She
for
lost the election. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I would use that to
unfortunately
start
for her,
fires in the fireplace.
she's almost irrelevant at this point. Like,
well, she,
they keep
she
toting her up.
keeps putting herself in there.
well, of course,
on
because you
that,
have to
but-
stay relevant.
But the main point is, and this goes to say business owners if you're watching this, okay? Guy wants to start a podcast. I'm doing my consulting calls yesterday, and one of the guys is like, I'm a divorce attorney, and he does very well for himself, okay? And he made $3 million last year as a divorce attorney. So then I go to his channel, and he doesn't have anything that's gone yet. But he's a talker, great storyteller. I enjoyed listening to him telling stories. I said, I'm thinking, why isn't none of this guy's stuff taken off yet? But there's another guy named James Sexton. Do you know James Sexton? Go search his name on YouTube. I guarantee you're going to know who he is
Okay.
the moment you look him up. James Sexton, go on YouTube. Okay, this guy.
I know he is.
He's a divorce attorney, okay? You know how many interviews he's done that have in the millions of views? You know why? He tells the most unique stories. And I asked him a question. I said, how many divorces have you been a part of? He said, 5,000. I said, how many of them did you have to mediate? Kind of like wedding crashers mediate.
Yeah.
And he says,
you get some air miles, I'll get some air miles.
you can throw some this way.
Whatever.
Yeah, he says maybe a couple hundred. I said, what's the richest family's divorce you did? And he's given it to me. And I said, what are the top 5 things that you see coming up in the mediations? He tells me the reasons. Who gets the kids? When? Where do the parents live? Educational decisions. Who makes it? He's given me the reasons for divorces.
Wow.
Robin, I'm having this conversation with him. Then I said, how many times did a client come to you that's filing a divorce with their husband or wife and they ended up going back and being happily married? He's like, oh, many, many times. These are interesting stories that you should tell. If your brand has nothing that's interesting, no one cares. There's nothing interesting about Kamala Harris. It's unfortunate because she's actually attractive. She actually looks good. It's appealing she's not unattractive. She's very attractive to look at. If you notice, Trump can't make fun of her looks. He has not made fun of her looks because she's not unattractive. But she's boring. And that is by far more unattractive than anything else. You go on a date. Like we're role-playing with Tico last night. Imagine you're on a date with her. You ask her a question. So, what's your favorite movie? Okay. Well, Tico, I grew up in a middle-class family.
With a lawn.
When we were kids, and I'm like, oh my God. You know, Tico's like, I'm sorry, I got a call from Vinny. Crisis happened. I got to leave. Right? But the point is, you can't be this boring. I don't know if I've ever seen a candidate more boring. Honestly, name a candidate more boring than Kamala. I want you to actually think about it. Michael Bloomberg, was he boring?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Would you put him more boring than Kamala? He at least had some stuff that he did. The guy was a mayor of New York City and he crushed it.
Yeah, because he,
guy's worth $100 billion.
Yeah, and he was smart. And
but give me the most boring candidate of your lifetime that actually was chosen, like Democrat or Republican.
like a Jeb Bush.
Well, I can tell you what it was. It was Michael Dukakis. I was still young, and here comes this candidate, and you're waiting for him to say something, and he's running against George Herbert Walker Bush Sr. And you want to talk about boring?
This is 88.
He came out of a tank. Didn't he come out of a tank?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was shocking the lack of anything substantive to say. And you sit there and you would look at it and saying, this is one of our 2 choices. I remember thinking that back then, saying, what an incredibly
so
boring
guy.
guy.
And you know
And
why?
then in California, I'll give you one. It was Gray Davis. Gray Davis somehow, because of the Democrat majority, gets elected governor, and he did such a horrible job that he was recalled 2 years later and shot out of the cannon. But he was also not only boring, there was no vision.
I think there's a lot of
no
boring
story.
Candidates. Here's the difference. I think there's a lot of boring candidates. I mean, I think of Al Gore when he lost in 2000. I can think of Mitt Romney. I can think of a couple other
I didn't
candidates.
think Romney was that boring.
I
Not
don't
at
think
the level of Kamala.
Okay, but the difference between Kamala is she could actually win. Why? Because of the DEI mantra. I mean,
the machines behind her.
If they win this election, it's because of one thing. It's because the women, single liberal women, are overwhelmingly breaking towards Kamala. I mean, the numbers are shocking.
But we're talking about boring. Do you remember?
Yeah, but that's part of the boring. That's part of it is that they don't care about policy. They don't care about substance. They care about my body, my choice, and abortion, and that's their choice.
Well, that's voting blocks. But I mean, it goes back to a candidate
That's
being
the
boring
difference.
or not.
Yeah,
that's the difference in selection. But she can win.
But here's the thing:
Romney
why?
couldn't win.
But here's the thing: why? Because I'm going back to how did Kamala get to this? If we hear all the rumors and all the things about Willie Brown and everything, she got to this point with no substance, no nothing. If you guys ever saw her during like the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, all those, by the way, your aides are writing all that stuff that you're yelling and you're talking all that crap. And now, by the way, did you think that she thought she was going to be running, like she was going to be the front runner for the presidency? Absolutely not. Listen. Joe tanked, and they went, "Oh my God, he's cooked." Kamala, she didn't
played the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
You know, sometimes your best ability is your availability. She just stayed available.
Yeah.
And waited for Joe Biden to basically croak.
I'm fighting through the jungle here. Trying to ask Pat's question. She refused to do the Al Wilson presidential debate that's sponsored by the Archdiocese in New York.
Yes.
Remember how funny it was when Romney and Obama did it? It was actually really funny.
But is it sort of like the comedic thing?
Yeah, no. It's every year. I think it's Al Wilson.
Yeah, it's the one where Trump says, Hillary bumped into me, and I said, "Oh," and then she said, "Pardon me." I said, "I'll think about it."
Yeah, exactly. Great.
But then
funny.
Kamala Harris says, "I'm not doing it." Every pair of candidates have done it, going back years and years, decades, and she says she's not going to do it. That's because there's no substance. She's a boring candidate.
But by the way, honestly, I'm telling you guys, Hillary Clinton to me was more entertaining than Kamala.
I think so,
because she was at least a gangster. Like, you're listening to a mafia boss. I'm okay with that, right? When you listen to Romney, you at least want to know, how'd you make $250 million?
Yeah, for sure.
I want to know Staples, all these things that they own with Bain.
Capital.
I want to know. But she is ridiculously boring. Watch this. Here's a race that no one cares about, but some people do. Garvey, I don't know if you guys saw this clip or not, and Schiff are going at it. By the way, Garvey may win. Okay, and watch how he handles himself right at the beginning, going after Schiff. Go ahead, Rob.
Mr. Schiff has been a congressman for 24 years, and we've debated over 3.5 hours prior to this. And over these 24 years, the policy he's going to talk about tonight, the policies, he hasn't been able to do anything about it. Think about this: 24 years addressing existential problems in this country, and never being able to cure the problems. And that's why the state is standing up now, its people, and saying it's time for change.
Oh,
Mr. Schiff is
perfect.
By the way, that's not even the one. Rob, go type in Garvey Schiff on Twitter. This is the one I want you to see. Type in Garvey Schiff. Matter of fact, if you just go to his personal account, hang tight, go down a little bit. Don't touch anything. Go down, it's going to come up. Okay, just go to Garvey's account if you could, Rob. Just go to Garvey's account. And watch this. This guy, man, I'm excited for you. Garvey, the one that's got 1.1 million views. Is that the one? 76 million likes? Which one is it, Rob?
This one is 788.
It should be the one.
34,573.
It's the one that says one of the fundamental differences between me and Schiff. One of the fundamental differences between me, you guys have to see this clip.
Yeah.
Don't say anything, Tom. I know you like to.
No. Don't scold me. I'm on a leash.
No, I'm not trying to put you on a leash. All I'm saying is let us see it before you ruin the climax. Go ahead.
How can you think about one man every day and focus on that when you've got millions of people in California to take care of? I think it's unconscionable. And like I said before, he lied to 300 million people when he was going through that whole process of trying to get Donald Trump impeached.
Mr. Schiff, 30.
How can you think of...
Yeah.
I like that.
He says, you wake up every single morning thinking about one person.
Yep.
There's 20 million people here, 22 million people here, and you don't think about them.
Wow.
All you think about is one person. I'm going to be thinking about the people. And people don't realize who Steve Garvey is, by the way, right?
Oh, the pitcher?
Tom,
That's who's running against him?
It's not Tom. Who is Steve Garvey?
Steve Garvey is National League Rookie of the Year in 1974.
Yeah,
He's one of the
baseball
greatest players in Dodger history. He's one of the greatest baseball players. He's just short of the Hall of Fame, but he's beloved in California. He's beloved.
Yeah, he is.
That's
Go ahead,
him?
Tom.
Baseball player.
No, that's him. And now he's running for
He
senator. And
wasn't
by the way,
pitcher, by the way. He said pitcher.
he was a first
This guy
baseman.
got almost 3,000 hits in his career.
Guys, that's my
2,600
bad.
hits.
I just
Keep going.
And by the way, he was
Baseball
chasing Lou
player,
Gehrig's
pitcher.
record until
Ohtani.
a San Diego incident in San Diego where the catcher broke his thumb sliding into home plate. Otherwise, he had a shot at Lou Gehrig's record.
This is not a regular guy. He was loved. He was a good-looking guy. Look how he is.
Oh, yeah.
He was tough.
Tough. And, I mean, but again, brand. There is things you listen to. His tone is not like this, but there's something there. Kamala is unbelievably boring. So is Schiff. Boring. Boring. Just boring candidates, left and right. Boring. Constantly. Anyways, let's talk about somebody who's not boring. Rob, pull up one of the clips with Trump and Schulz.
Oh, yeah.
So the stuff he says is just
He's
one by one. Play a few of them. Here's one of them. Well, go ahead, Rob.
Over the last week, I have, when we talk about funny or sad, I think it's more sad than funny.
Yeah.
He has one ability I don't have.
Yeah.
He sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce, they weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it. They're meant for children.
Yeah.
Young people and old people to lift.
Yeah.
They're aluminum, hollowed aluminum.
Yeah.
They weigh very little. And he can't lift. And somebody convinced him he looks good in a bathing suit. And when you're 82, typically bathing suits aren't going to make you look great. You're not going to be enhanced. Yeah. All right? It's just one of those things. I can't be sure about that, but typically you don't.
Depends what he's packing. He could.
I don't know what the hell he's packing, but I don't want to. And I don't want to know either. I don't know. But he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things, and in minutes, he's stone cold out.
How does he do
And he's
it?
got cameras
How does
because
he
he's the
do it?
president, so they have cameras on him.
Yeah.
And then they show him sleeping on the beach.
Yeah.
You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
But wait, he's with comedians and he's hanging and he's making them die. By the way, you know this. That's not easy to make them laugh. And he goes, oh my God. He goes, you'll never see me
Just
sleeping.
picture any other candidate on something like this.
Never.
Just picture.
They would. Hold on. Kamala on this, they would
And
destroy
they
her.
were asking him questions as if he was one of the boys. So it's like, is Elon Musk your favorite African American? He's like, what a guy.
Yeah.
And they said, he goes, you have the ability to tell these stories and come back. He's like, I call it the weave. The weave. Some people think I'm going off topic. It's the weave. I'm going to come back.
Rob, go ahead
I can
and play.
go all the way there. Come right back.
Go ahead, Rob. Which one is
Whole
this?
new, different way of
Can I ask you a question
getting the word out, right?
about Elon specifically? Is he your favorite African American?
Go right into it.
He's a piece of work. I'll tell you. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's obviously a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the rocket engines come back, I said, what is that? Like a couple of years ago, you've never seen rockets go up and then they crash into the water.
Yeah.
And I see the engines are coming back and they're landing.
It's unbelievable.
They're landing and they land on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a little dot and they land right on the top of the spot.
And my wife can't parallel park.
I know. A lot of people can't. Most people can't. But no, he's great. But he's got a great heart. He was with me, as you know, on the other night.
Yeah.
And we were honoring a man who got killed at a rally, Corey, firefighter, great guy. And it was a beautiful evening. But Elon went out and he loved the crowd. He loves the country.
Yeah.
And he's picked a side. A lot of people don't want to pick a side. I have a lot of people that
That's
are
a very good point.
big supporters of me.
Yeah.
But they won't go all out. They can't.
They're scared.
Quite.
There's a
They're
cost.
scared. Yeah. There's a cost.
Yeah.
there is a cost, but there's also a liability. I mean, some people, I respect it a lot when this guy was up there doing jumping jacks. You got to vote for Trump. You got to vote for Trump.
He was jumping high.
Yeah. He was jumping high.
He looked quite African.
Did you see the part when he started? That's great. Did you see the part when he started getting into the nicknames?
Andrew just had to go because he's African American.
You see the part when he's getting into the nicknames? Tampon Tim. It's not easy to say. Comrade Kamala. It has to bazoom, get out of your mouth. He made those guys crack up. Do you see the part when he said about truthful? I'm basically a truthful person. They're like, what do you mean basically? Which is, it's actually so telling because he's basically like saying, I'm basically truthful.
Yeah.
That's him being basically truthful live on air.
I do a lot. But I always refer him back to the simplicity of McDonald's. She lied about McDonald's. She lied about many things. And she's a liar. There should be some kind of a rule when they know it's a lie, you can't do a commercial on it. But this is a thing that's going to end in 29 days, so they can say what they want. I have a hard time doing it to them because I'm basically a truthful person, but frankly, she's given me so much ammunition. I don't really have to. I mean, she's a radical left lunatic who will destroy our.
She's a communist, and he goes, "She's a communist." You know that she's a communist.
It's hard to say.
You know what I thought was really interesting is you listen to the tone of the voice in President Trump, and you listen to the style which he was delivering. We're used to seeing him behind the podium, and now with bulletproof glass, thank God.
Adam, turn it off.
And fully protected.
Adam, so unprofessional.
And we're used to seeing him that, like in full campaign mode, in front of the crowd. There's a style to that, and there's a message to that, because you're giving a speech, and the people have come far and wide to Butler, Pennsylvania to be there for that speech. And then when he sits down right there, I was looking at it, you know what I was thinking? You know what? He is saying what most Americans are already thinking about the campaign. And I think that people were finding identity in that, and we're finding alignment with that, saying, you know what? He's saying what I was just thinking about her. That's right. When she does these commercials, I am thinking that. And when he's like, boy, and I was thinking that about Joe Biden. He's sleeping on the beach. Why are we taking pictures of our president sleeping on the beach? Even a Democrat, and I've talked to a couple of them, what do you think of all the camera stuff on the beach and the number of times he's at the beach? And he said, I don't know whose idea this is, but they shouldn't. Why is he putting himself out there to be criticized? Oh, here he's on the beach again, completely knocked out. And here's Trump saying that. That's exactly what people are thinking. I spoke to a Democrat that was thinking exactly that. So I think there was a whole other side that was seen here. And I would have liked to seen him maybe, not just joking around, but also talking about policies, because his economic plan has got things in there for the entrepreneur. It's got things in there people want to hear. But I thought it was a whole nother side of him, kind of, lowering the tone a little bit. Yeah. And I thought it was very human. And I think there's a lot of voters looking at that saying, okay.
By the way, you know what it shows me? Here's what it shows me. So we 8 months ago, you'll remember this, well, we ranked everybody with talent at dinner at the house, right? And we were talking about why this guy does so well with podcasts, and why Rogan is the best, and why this guy is this, and why that guy's coming up, and why this guy flatline, and why that guy, nobody cares about him anymore. He's done. He's boring, right? It's done. I don't need to hear from you ever again, and I already know what I'm going to hear from you, right? Why that guy's not a good interviewer, why that guy's not. People like to see how he interviews, but nobody cares about their opinion. Nobody says that person said this. Yep. What does this person think about this, right? So the thing with him, that it's almost if there was no mainstream media, okay, and it was just social media. Take mainstream media out. I just want you to think about this. Put it all in free market, and it's social, independent people. Yeah. People that make money by themselves going and building their stuff, right? If there was nothing else from mainstream media, funded by Big Pharma, funded by all these other guys, right? By the way, it would be a shellacking.
Big time.
Is what it would be.
Great point.
Why, though? Because of one thing, what this guy's got. So the level of range he has is unbelievable. He can sit with comedians, tell you stories about the times he broke bread with comedians, and you'll say, wait, you did what with that guy? Yeah, of course. Back in 1979, he can go sit with billionaires. He can go sit with dignitaries. He can go sit with playboys. He can go sit with politicians. He can go sit with business guys. He can go sit with anybody and everybody. Sports. The level of range he has makes him that wide. Like, I'm willing to bet if, let's just say, I don't know if he's going to do it or not. Let's just say Pat McAfee had him on. Okay? You know Pat McAfee?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet the stuff he talks about with sports would get people that are sports people that have to respond to it.
For sure.
Now, Pat McAfee has to have the brass to do it, and their bosses have to let him do it.
Yeah,
But he would have range. I'm willing to bet if he went and talked to Stephen A. about sports, because if he goes with McAfee, McAfee's only going to talk sports with them. Stephen A. is actually interested in politics.
Yeah.
There's a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you put him anywhere, the level of range he's at, he's an unfair opponent to have. Unfair opponent to have. The only advantage Kamala has, she's raised over $1 billion in money, okay? You're talking about mainstreams behind her, defending of CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, you name them. They all have YouTube. Our podcast was taken on Tuesday. YouTube is saying it's CBS. Was it really? Was it really, or was it the fact that the podcast was on fire? It was our fastest growing podcast coming out that we didn't do on a regular day. It was on fire. Boom. 2 hours later, it's down. Why? Oh, because so she's protected in so many ways. He is not. If you took the protection out that Kamala has, this would be one of those Mike Tyson knockouts, 12 seconds, round one
finish
type of deal. His range is one of a kind.
And you nailed it. As you were saying it, I was just with sports, because I think he would hang with Pat McAfee from the history, just with him with Don King and boxing and UFC you
fighting.
Name it. And then all that stuff that you said, Pat, all that fun, entertaining, and that. Then at the end of the day, he could sit in a room with a Putin, with a Kim Jong-un, and have a dead serious, like, yo, this is how it's happening. Right. Oh, my God. He's the GOAT.
Or hand a terrorist a picture of his house.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the overall question is that, has Kamala peaked? Because we're starting to see the facade sort of break.
The honeymoon's over.
Yeah, the honeymoon's over, basically. Thanks, Vin.
Yep.
And has Trump peaked, though? I don't know. I think he's got so much range that he could go on different podcasts. Like, I'd love to see Trump go on to something like Call Her Daddy. Go on to the podcast that the women watch. Go on to The View. Because what you're starting to see, did you see that the Teamsters guy went on Theo Vaughn's podcast, talked about the Democratic Party hasn't done anything for us. We're done with these guys over here. But we're starting to see certain situations like black women in Chicago, vote red, vote Trump. We're starting to see Latinos. The number has shrunk from like 20-30% margin to favoring the Democrats to basically tied in some of these polls out here.
Tied.
We're starting
Trump
to
is
see
leading with Hispanics.
Exactly.
In certain
So we're starting to see people be like, here's the common thing with Trump that I've seen. I've seen this thing because it's happened to me. They say the following, I was never a Trump guy. I was a never Trumper, i.e. J.D. Vance. But over the last 4 to 8 years, I don't know, something's changed, and that's why I'm voting for Trump.
That was you.
No, I understand. I think that's a lot of Americans is my point.
But the difference is, but there's one big difference. The big difference is you're willing to say it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not.
Correct.
A lot of people are still worried about their careers or what's going to happen, all this other stuff. You forget where we work.
Yeah.
We work in a place. Guys, if you go on VT.com and you go find out about us, the 4 things we stand for as a company, you know what it is? Do you know the 4 things? Entrepreneurship, leadership, capitalism, and what's the last one? Debate.
We
love the debate.
Guys, the entire environment, we're debating for nothing. If we're sitting by the bar, we will find the dumbest reason to debate. We like to debate. It makes the environment more exciting, when you're having certain conversations, right? But that's not a safe environment for everybody at every place. Anyways, let's go to the next story. Rob, so Kamala gets a chance to go on Colbert and The View, okay? On The View, she's asked, because the one thing they're trying to do with her branding is to get her to say she has her own ideas different than Biden. Then Sonny, I believe, asks Kamala a question about Sonny, Rob. Let's do Sonny first. Sonny asks Kamala a question about how different she is than Biden. This is the answer she gives. Go ahead, Rob.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Not anything.
By the way, they are asking her, hoping she gives a better answer.
Yeah.
Watch this one. Go ahead.
People, especially independent voters, really want this to be a change election, and that they tend to break for you in terms of thinking about change. You are a member of the present administration. Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also it.
Applause.
Rob.
She got the
28
applause.
days ago, I'm not Donald Trump.
Right.
And so when we think about the significance of what this next generation of leadership looks like,
Stop it. I mean, you cannot. No one asked you that you are not Biden and you're not like Trump. What are you for? What's different about you? Can a person be more boring? Let me tell you guys. You know why I like Elizabeth Warren on the other side? She's a fighter. And she, by the way, her and I are opposite on 95% of policies. But there's something unique about Elizabeth Warren. There's something.
Same with Bernie.
Bernie.
Yep.
Dude, what is different about AOC? Do you know why I believe AOC is one of those that can have legs long term? Dude, say something, like have some brass. Nothing? No, this is it. Dude, if they hired Apple CMO from the year when they came out with the 1984 campaign, if they went and hired Coca-Cola CMO, McDonald's CMO, if they brought Tony Robbins in, if they put all these four people in the same room with her, she still wouldn't be marketable. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
You get Tony, you get the CMO of Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Apple in the same room, she's boring. Yeah. You cannot make a boring brand marketable. There's never been somebody more boring than this candidate. Oh, my God.
But that's what they're doing this week. This week, they're trying to, let's face it, she's not campaigning this week. This is sort of a fundraising comedy tour. You look at all the places she's went. She's going for laughs. She's going for likability. It says, I saw it referred to as the fundraising comedy tour, and I think that's exactly what's going on here. They're raising money this week. They're trying to get people laughing with her. They're trying to give her something, Pat, that's interesting. So this week is also, Leonard Nimoy, God rest his soul. Remember, all the things in search of. Well, right now she is in search of interesting, because there is no interesting that sticks to her. There is no substance that sticks to her. And right now this is a tour this week trying to see, well, maybe if we connect with the comedians and the pop culture people, maybe that'll do it. This is a sign of a campaign in disarray, and it's a little bit desperate.
You know what the worst combination is, Tom? Boring and then fake. Fake and boring is at least, like you said, have some excitement. Like I would respect her more if they talk about the border and finance. You know what she should say? You know what? I wasn't the president, but you know what? I will change. I will try to do X, Y, and Z. You know what? She could say, I'm not an economist, but you know what? I would hire Jamie Dimon to do this and do that. Give me something. Push back. Sell yourself.
But she's not thinking that way. She doesn't have any of the thoughts. She is vacuous.
Yes.
She doesn't have any of the thoughts. You could say something without, dissing your boss and say, well, you know what? Hindsight's 2020, and we could have gone back, and we really could have made some moves here to bring inflation down sooner. We went to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Now we don't have that. Maybe we could have gone with opened up a little bit of the window on drilling and still not get sideways with the greens, and maybe that would have helped the economy there. You could say those two things. I could say those two things, boom, without even thinking for a half a second. That would give some sort of answer out there. But there's nothing, because it's not on her mind, because she wasn't in the room.
Correct. Exactly. I'll agree with Vinny, but I'll just add one more thing. You said boring, fake, and then the third word, sadly enough, is electable. Because if you look at the polls, it's still neck and neck.
It's a tight race.
Sadly enough, America could potentially get what it deserves. If we actually elect this person, then she is the commander-in-chief, president of the United States, which is still possible. It's within 3 points right now, the general election. You know, they say elections have consequences. This is going to be the consequence of electing a boring, fake, unqualified candidate.
Then you get the puppet and the machine.
And by the way, and those people, and mind you, I'm not one of those Hillary Clinton talking about deplorables, but if you are just voting for Kamala Harris because she's not Donald Trump, I have zero respect for you.
Well, that's literally what's happening.
I know, and I get that, but
literally what's happening.
but because
She
Adam,
just said it.
How many times has he said the case studies are in front of you? She's not going to do anything different. What Elon said about her being this puppet, nobody's trying to assassinate her. Nobody's trying to assassinate Biden. You know why? Because they are the establishment. They're the system. If you're, I can't. If you're just a regular like American, rich, whatever, how are you happy this past 4 years? Please sell me, because all I hear is from people on the left, my cousins and everybody from Cali. Well, the infrastructure. I go, dude, shut the hell up with the infrastructure. Turn on your TV. Look at everything and look where we are right now. How can you, in your right mind, just vote for her and you can't see what's happening?
Because the reality is most people live in echo chambers. Most people are on one side and they're not willing to change or be reasonable. They cling to their beliefs. And how many people, think about this, what percentage of people actually go from being Republicans to Democrats or Democrats to Republicans? It's a few thousand, 100,000 people in swing states that change every single election. Most people are fixed and that's it. That's why every 4 years you have to basically appease the people that are actually reasonable and go back and forth.
Rob,
it is what it is.
Go to vtnews.ai. Folks, vtnews.ai. For those of you guys, subscribership's blowing up on this website. We're so happy for you because we use this for the PBD podcast all the time. If you go to homepage, do me a favor, go on the bottom right on election. Go right there, election in the U.S. Can you click on that? 25 days left. Okay. National poll, she's ahead 1.4.
But the Dems always win the popular
Of course,
vote.
I get it. Go to Arizona. So then you have the battleground. Arizona, can you go up a little bit to see what other polls are saying? So 49.7. Everybody has Arizona for Trump, except for SoCal Strategies. Go to Georgia.
And that was a news poll yesterday that we included.
Yeah. So then we have, this is what Georgia, look at that. Wow. 48.8. You got Atlas Intel has Trump by 1, CBS by 1. Fox News has Harris up 3.
What?
Fox
So, News.
That's right. Insider Advantage has Harris by 5. And then Quinnipiac has Trump by 5. Go to Michigan. Michigan, you got Trump 0.3. Okay. And Morning Consult has Harris by 2. RMG Research has Harris by 3. New York Times even has Trump. Look at that. Siena New York Times has Trump by 1. Atlas has Trump by 3, 4. Go to Nevada. Nevada's got Atlas Intel's Harris by 2.8. We even have Harris 1.5. Insider Advantage, Trump 1. RMC's got tie. Morning Consult's got Harris plus 4. Go to Carolina. Got it, 49.8, 40.
Take a look at some of the dates. And when you get to Wisconsin, let's talk.
Go to Pennsylvania.
Well, dude, look at him in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, not even close. But Emerson and Fox still has it as a tie.
Yeah.
Go to Wisconsin.
So look what's happening in Wisconsin. There was a poll that came out last night. Quinnipiac, 10-3, 10-7. We are looking every day, Pat, looking for the new polls to put out there. We want the newest, freshest, most credible polls going into our average. And Quinnipiac, which is not normally known as being accurate, they're known as having a left lean. Let's say there's a 1-point left lean in there. That means that poll, 1,073 likely voters, so that's a good number, says +2, it's probably higher than that. Right below Trafalgar, 930, there has been a suppression of polls. If you look at our polls, ladies and gentlemen, look at the dates on some of these. They're going back. Where are the fresh polls? The polls we feel are being withheld because they don't match the narrative of the mainstream media.
Got it.
But you're seeing polls starting to leak, and when they leak, we've got them up there. So come back every day and check this out and look at the new polls.
This gets updated every day.
Every day.
Multiple times a day, this is getting updated. So just go to vtnews.ai. And by the way, again, go to my favorite feature if you could, Rob. Go back to vtnews.ai. I do this every day, probably 10 times a day. Go to homepage, and go to the top 5 on the right. Zoom in a little bit so people can see it. I go to Ask VTAI, click on the top 5 news today. Let's see what it tells us. On the top 5
Hurricane
Milton has landfall. Florida has a Category 3. Power outages, several deaths. Oh, wow, several deaths already. The hurricane, I didn't know that.
Yep.
The hurricane has affected Sarasota, Orlando, and Daytona Beach. President Barack Obama is headlining rally in Pittsburgh to support Kamala Harris. focused on mobilizing young black voters.
Good luck with
Time
that.
100 next gala was held in Manhattan, honoring emerging leaders across industries. Notable attendees included musician Sabrina Carpenter, Renee Rapp, as well as Nicole. Okay, got it. CNN anchor Anderson Cooper was struck by flying debris.
Yeah, he was sitting next to Jeffrey
while
Toobin.
reporting live. You're so funny.
I never understand why they have to show us they're standing in the storm. We believe you
And then
guys. There's a
5
storm. We know.
Is Hurricane Milton has caused major disruption, including the closure of airports and theme parks, resulting in over 2,000 flight cancellations.
But
wow.
Regarding Trump, what we were just talking about, something has changed in the last basically 10 days. And I sent you this on USA Today. And USA Today, I think, is pretty center, probably center left. Something has changed in Trump's favor.
Have you read it recently?
Yes, and essentially, ever since the VP debate is what they're tracking. If you go down, the odds have significantly changed in Trump's favor. I don't know if it's a JD Vance effect or if it's the Chris Farley-esque Tim Walz debacle, where he's like, I was in Tenement Square. No, I wasn't. I don't know. I'm just a knucklehead sometimes.
He was
Look
at
at these
Epcot
odds.
and he'd thrown down a bunch of beers.
Thanks, Tom. But Trump has gone from basically being the underdog 10 days ago to now the favorite. Things have changed. And if you even go to Vegas odds, Kamala was 52% to 48. Those have flipped, and now it's, 55-44? So something is happening where people are basically saying the whole Kamala charade coronation, give me some substance or get the hell out of here.
But that scares me because you know what? The Democrats, they play to win, and they're like a caged animal in the corner. Once now that scares me that now they're going to realize, oh my God, something. I think they're going to have some tricks up their sleeves.
We're about to see an
November, October, that surprise that they keep warning us about, Black Swan event, something. By the way, if they know that they're going to lose, that she's going to lose, trust me, especially with the interview with Elon talking about these billionaires, bro, billionaires don't want him to win. Billionaires have power, bro. And a couple of billionaires, a handful, could do some crazy stuff, Tom.
But we can do something about it. Depending on where you live, the registration windows, voter registration windows are closing. Yeah. And so now it's all about get out the vote. Do you have an older relative? And if you have an ads for an absentee ballot, how can you help them? How can you drive them to the polls? Now it's all about get out the vote. Number one, make it so that the turnout is too big to rig, and focus, because these polling are showing positive results. Every week we're seeing more positive things for Trump. That's what we're seeing in the polls. And the polls are being held back since the VP debate, but there have been polls completed since the VP debate that I think are favoring, because I think people are seeing, hey man, Trump made a very wise and very insightful choice there. Look at this guy. Look how he held up with Tim Walz. Oh, I'm a knucklehead. I don't know where I was. That didn't show well. I don't care how much the mainstream media wants to spin it. That didn't show well.
Tampon Tim, what a guy. I don't think he's going to be qualified. Great guy, but he's horrible. He's a Marxist. He's horrible, but I love him. But he sucks.
All right, let's go to the next story here. Teamster. By the way, those hats sold out in no time.
Quick?
They're done. There's nothing left. Yeah, they sold out in no time. So for some of you guys that wanted to buy them, but it's gone, we even limited it. You can only buy 2 at a time. It's gone. You can buy the other ones, the red ones. This one is gone. Pretty wild. What happened?
No, I just wanted them to show on the back that, they're completely sold out. You can't get them on VTmerch.com.
It's done. But you can get the red ones or the white ones. Still, the future looks bright.
Wow.
Those are not numbered, but this one's gone. Yeah.
It'll be on eBay soon.
Rob, can you play the clip of the Teamster Union president tells Theo Vaughn, watch this here. Go ahead, Rob.
But I'll be honest with you, I'm a Democrat, but they have fucked us over for the last 40 years. And for once, and not all of them, but for once, we're standing up as a union, probably the only one right now, saying, what the fuck have you done for us?
Yeah.
And I'm getting attacked from the left, and we've given, since I've been in office 2.5 years, we've given the Democratic machine $15.7 million. Wow. We've given Republicans about $340,000, truth be told. Wow. So it's like, people say the Democratic Party is the party of the working people. They're bought and paid for by big tech, those big tech companies.
Yeah, tech is the new fossil fuel, man.
Right?
That's what I say.
Right. And you've got the Republicans who are now saying, hey, we want to be the working class party, right? And okay, you've got a great opportunity right now to do that. And the Democrats, if 60% of our members aren't supporting you, the fucking system's broken. Yeah. And you need to fix it. Stop pointing fingers at Sean O'Brien. Stop pointing fingers at the Teamsters Union. Look in the mirror. I mean, I had a heated discussion 2 weeks ago with Chuck Schumer. And it got fucking ugly.
Chuck Schumer is a piece of shit.
And it got ugly because, these politicians, the one thing I've learned, they fucking walk in and they tell you, I did this for you. Okay, great. Let me tell you what you haven't fucking done for us or our members.
God.
And we got into it pretty heavy. And I'm like, you had no problem taking $550,000 from me 3 weeks prior to me going on the Republican National Convention, and then you want to be a fucking tough guy on Twitter or X or whatever it is and throw shit out there about me? Like, whatever.
Dude.
I mean, this guy's as real as it gets.
But
the fact that he's like, listen, I'm a Democrat, but I just can't go for this shit no more.
Yeah, but the
fucking Chuck Schumer, a piece of shit.
And you just
total piece of shit.
You told it. It's that shift, Adam. It's like that shift has happened. It's not happening. It's happened where people like that, bro, $15.7 million, and they don't do nothing for you, and you're giving the other side $350,000 or whatever. And I love. By the way, I know Theo personally, and I love the fact because I've never seen this when he said what he just said about Chuck Schumer. Beautiful.
Tom.
I love it.
So I think what you're seeing here is a cataclysmic change that's happening with the American populace, where you've got people that feel like they were treated as taken for granted and automatic votes. And people are saying, what have you done for me? And that's what he's saying. What have you done for me? We've given you 15. Remember, he didn't say all time. He said the last 2 years since he's been president, correct? Since he's been president, 15 point something million dollars they've given. And what have they got back? And listen to what he said. You had no trouble taking $500,000 from me. That was for some campaign, Chuck Schumer. And then after he went and spoke at the RNC, you're talking crap about me all over Twitter. There's the reality. There's the reality. You are and they feel they are entitled to your vote. They pander to you. But the minute you do anything, even after you've given them 15-point-something million dollars, Schumer attacks him. So guess what? What does that tell you? They don't love you. They use you.
Yeah, and it's actually refreshing to see. Look, when you think of unions and Teamsters, you think of the Democratic Party. The fact this guy spoke at the RNC, he said, "I'll speak at any party. I'll speak to anybody." He lit it up at the RNC. So, there's a saying in the Democratic Party, I'm going to vote blue no matter who. Here's a guy basically saying, I'm voting for what is actually serving our interests. Yep. I gave how much money? $15 million to the Democrats. I gave basically a couple shekels, 340 grand to the Republicans, and I'm still voting Republican. Mm-hmm. Can't do it anymore. So it's
60% of the membership, he quoted, are supporting Trump.
Which 60. Is insane based on track record. Because it came down to one thing. The Democrats used to be the party of the working people, the working man. Now they're the party of the working woman. But what is a woman? I don't know. They're the party of the working he/she's at this point, and it's quite upsetting to the Teamsters.
Yeah. This is the part when I see polls, and then I see what's going on with people like this. What was the number? 13.7 million to the left.
15.7
million to the left and only $300,000 to the right, or $500,000 to the right.
340.
Yeah, when you see numbers like that, and then he realizes 60% of his union is voting Trump, things are changing in America.
Yeah.
This is a very, very weird season. They just have to make sure this guy stays good for the next, how many days left? What was it, 25?
Are you talking about Trump or are you talking about O'Brien?
No. Trump. 25 days is going to come like this. By the way, listen to me. Election night, we're putting the biggest party nationwide at a new property we just bought. If you haven't yet bought your tickets, get your tickets and come down. I wish I could tell you all the surprises we got that night. We're going to do grand opening. We're going to do the whole, what do you call it when it's the
shovel?
The shovel with the breaking ground.
Breaking ground.
We're going to reveal and show stuff we've never shown before, especially to some of you guys that want to be super VIPs. To the super VIPs that want to network with other super VIPs, we're going to treat you royally that night, okay? Rob, just play the clip on what's going to be happening on election night for you to come and join us. Play this clip from the new building that we just got a week and a half ago. I'm there every day. Dylan yesterday going 27 miles an hour in his car, having a blast. But go ahead, Rob. Play the clip.
Okay, I got a big announcement to make, and the good news is you're the first to know, and you'll be the first to be invited. So the property I'm on right now, we've been working on buying this property for the last 3 years. It's one of its last kind in America. Why? It's on 11 acres. It's got 2 hangars. It's on an airport. upgrades of $7 million made here. That's going to be the new headquarters of Valuetainment, Manek, David Consulting, the podcast, the whole nine. And what we wanted to do in a special way that you're going to hear about this 2 days before I announce it publicly on the PBD podcast, we want to find a way to celebrate this as a new headquarters with inviting you to an event on November 5th, which is election night. A lot of different things people will be talking about, business owners. What's going to happen if it goes this way? What's going to happen if it goes that way? So imagine 2,000 people being here. Let me show you around. Some of you will have a private meeting with me. That's the elite. That's going to be a few of you. Some will get a private tour of the entire office from us. There's a hangar in the back. So you come up here. Imagine there's going to be a couple major tents, 40 feet by 100 feet, where some of the people that are buying general tickets will be there. But over here inside the hangar is where the podcast will be held. This entire thing will be open like it is right now. Inside of it, myself, the PBD podcast crew, some of the super VIPs will be invited to go upstairs in a section that we have that's got a bar, a restaurant, food, kitchen. You're eating, you're watching it from all the way up there while we're doing the podcast down here in the hangar. So imagine in this room, there's 1,000 people, right? While we're going through this whole thing. Conversation, it's going to be from 6 p.m. is when it starts, all the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because a lot of things that's going to be going on. And by the way, do you know why we're not cutting this? We're on an airport. These are planes. We have to hear because right here is the airport. And FYI, Messi plays right there at that stadium right behind us. So you got 48 hours before I announce this publicly. There's 5 ticket tiers that you can purchase. Each one's got more things to offer. But even locally, there's general tickets to buy for just $75. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your family, bring your friends. There's one caveat after you buy the ticket. When you buy the ticket and you come on November 5th, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. I'm talking Future Looks Bright hat, a shirt, doesn't matter. You're gonna have to show I got some kind of Future Looks Bright gear because we want everybody here to spread the message and the energy of optimism around the world, back to their states, wherever you're going to be. So November 5th, click on the link above or below, get registered. And if you're watching this saying, well, Pat, I like to travel private. Can I bring my private jet here? 5 of you guys will be after you buy your ticket. Then you can ask us, and that's only available to the tickets at the highest level possible to bring your jet and park it here. So having said that, get your tickets, and I cannot wait to see you November 5th, 6 p.m. at our new headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
It's going to be freaking awesome.
It's going to be
I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going.
And by the way, I wish I could say all the guests that are going to be there. I don't want to say it because part of it is also suspense, surprise. But there's going to be you're going to be. What are you doing here? Yeah. Oh my God, look at this. Let me take a picture of it. It's going to be wild. Bring your family, bring your friends. We're going to have a good time. Anyway, so we are 25 days away from that day. I cannot wait for that event. Tom, next story I'm going into. Rate cuts. People that want to buy houses. Jerome Powell comes out, cuts the rates in half. Everybody's waiting, saying, oh my God, this is great. And we're going to be able to get a mortgage that's going to be lower, numbers going to be lower. And then rate cuts were supposed to push mortgage rates lower, but the opposite happened. Despite the Federal Reserve rate cut on the 18th, rates have increased, with 30-year fixed rates going from 6.165 to 6.62. Jerome Powell's decision hasn't brought the anticipated relief for home buyers who were hoping for a different number. The rise in mortgage rates mirrors increases in the 10-year Treasury yield, which reflects investors' optimism about the economy. Tom, what is going on with this?
So you would think that soon as the Fed lowers interest rates, you would have all the banks and the mortgage providers out there lower their interest rates as well. Well, they did initially, and there were some 5.875, 6.0s out there, 6 and an 8. They did for a moment. But what has happened is the demand for mortgages is still at near all-time lows. So when the banks give you a mortgage, they're making a profit on the difference between what they get the money and what they give you the money for. The difference is profit. Like I buy a bag of apples from a farmer, I mark it up, I sell it to you. The banks do that with money. That's how they do it. They sell us money for the price of interest. And what has happened is the demand for mortgages is low, so there is no need for the banks to compete with each other by lowering rates, and the banks are trying to make more of a profit. And the other side of it is we still haven't had enough supply in the market by enough houses on the market that people want to purchase. And one of those is directly related to Florida because the cost of homeownership has gone up this year again with insurance cost and property taxes because the value of the homes are up. And so when you bought a home, your property tax was higher than the last guy. All of that is combined that there's still low demand from buyers in the market. And so the banks have no desire to compete with each other on service and price of the mortgage, and they want to make as much as they can on the mortgages they can place today. That's what's going on.
Got it. So go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, Pat asked a great question. You would think that when you cut rates, that mortgage rates would go down. Well, alas, it didn't work that way. There's something weird going on in the housing market right there. We covered this last week. What was it? It was the lowest amount of transactions in 30 years.
Yeah. Correct.
30 years.
All-time low demand for mortgages because it takes a mortgage to finish a transaction.
And, I always say that there's the big three expenses when you buy a house. It's not just your mortgage. You have to pay taxes, you have to pay the insurance, and then you have to pay for the maintenance. And people basically underestimate what that costs. But basically the cracks are starting to happen in the facade of buying the house. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy a house, and I'm not saying that buying real estate is not a good investment. Obviously, investing in the stock market is literally a better position, double the amount. But there's three things that are happening. There's triple whammy right now. There's high prices. It's the highest the houses have ever been. What's the average price of a house right now? 4.5, something like that.
430 or something.
Okay, it's basically the highest mortgage rates we've seen in how many decades. And then the third thing is that this is basically what's happening, especially in the middle of a hurricane. The insurance situation is becoming untenable. Right? I mean, how many insurance companies are leaving California? We talked about that. Geico,
and
what's
Florida,
going on.
and Gulf states.
So people are doing the math. They're like, yeah, I do want to buy a house. Of course, that's great. But when I do all the math, something's not adding up. So we're going to see where we go from here. Hopefully there's going to be a correction and it becomes more affordable because the real estate market is what makes the economy tick. I mean, what percentage of people actually buy houses? I think 2/3 of people actually have a mortgage, own their home, 1/3 rent, but that's shifting dramatically now.
Supply of houses at affordable prices will bring the buyers in, and then the whole market moves. Supply of houses at affordable prices.
But how does supply happen? You have to lower your price if you're the seller, right?
Or there's more houses on the market. And if you take a look at the ETFs, exchange traded funds that cover Lanier, Toll Brothers, the big builders, look at those things. They have been on a tear for the last 2 years. Why? They're building as many houses as they can, but where are they building them? Outside of the big city areas, whereas cities, city sprawl, urban sprawl, it's all of those residential communities building farther and farther from the cities. And some cities have great programs. Miami does, where downtown in the cities, there's a lot of buildings that have been renovated over the years that make a lot more condos that are at somewhat affordable prices. But, that's single people.
Ultimately, we're saying one thing, Vinny,
don't buy
now's not the time to buy your house.
Well, but here's my question, Tom. Trump wins. God willing, Trump wins. How long would it take for his presidency to affect this to lower?
I don't.
Well, that doesn't help at all?
The presidency and who's head of the Treasury isn't really going to have a big effect because Powell has spoken. And people have felt, including me, that he didn't have to do that 50-point cut. It could have been a 25-25. The jobs number that just came in was very, very good. Spoiler alert, we're waiting for the government to release the adjustment, which will happen on November 6th. So right now, when Trump gets in, he's going to be working to affect change for the family so it can make it more affordable. But right now, remember, he's got to get inaugurated and he's got to get a Secretary of Treasury and he's got to get his programs in, which is going to be around the 1st of March.
There was breaking news from Wall Street Journal, and they just had the inflation numbers just come in. Inflation slowed again in September. According to a CPI report, we're now at 2.4% currently inflation. So that rate cut that he did, half a basis point, seems to be working out well. Now they're considering another rate cut towards the end of the year.
Maybe.
You're saying maybe. Rob, pull up this.
Maybe not. The jobs reports have come back.
Watch this here. Homeownership statistics by states. Okay. Before you go down, the national average for homeownership is roughly 65%. Okay.
Yeah, 2/3.
But what state do you think is the lowest in homeownership?
Ooh.
Which state has the
lowest?
I would maybe guess California.
That's third.
Really? New York?
Second.
Illinois?
No.
I'm just going with Democratic states where you can't afford anything.
Think about it. You should be able to get this.
So I guess the top three, just I'm missing number one.
It's
California,
a weird
New York,
state.
Massachusetts?
No.
Portland?
No.
Hawaii?
But it's like not a state, but it is a state.
Is it Hawaii?
DC.
DC. Oh, DC.
So,
yeah.
and by the way, which one do you think is the highest? 79%.
In DC, you mean?
Delaware. Then it's Maine. Go down.
Yeah.
This is by state. Go lower, little lower. That's the national average, 65.9%. Okay. Go lower, lower by the states. Keep going, Rob. Keep going. Right there. Look at this. Alabama 74, Alaska 63. You see California right there, 55.3. You see Delaware highest, 79.1. DC lowest, only 43.9. Florida 68, above national average. Hawaii 61. Indiana 74. Iowa 75. Keep going. Look at Maine, 78.8. Keep going. New York 54.3. Okay, keep going. Vermont 75.3.
So, Pat, how would you basically add this up? Because for
Look
me,
at West Virginia, 75%
yeah,
West Virginia.
Because it comes down to one thing.
And people like to pick on them as a little second-rate state and all this, but look at that. You know, the people.
But ask the reason why, though.
Look at Texas. Texas is lower than national average, 63.3.
But it comes down to one thing. This comes down to affordability. You can go to West Virginia and buy a house for $100,000. Good luck buying anything for less than $1 million in New York City or California. Good luck. So it's an affordability thing. How do you basically thread all these numbers? What's the storyline?
If you're suggesting Vinny move to West Virginia, I don't see it.
I'm not going.
I just don't see it.
I'm not going to zoom into these. No.
I mean,
it is. Look at DC. DC is what? But most people who live in DC don't know if they're going to live there forever. So they'd rather rent. So the climate is a little bit of, if you're a politician, you're renting. You're not buying, right? You go, you rent, you come back, whatever. If you're living in California or New York, you just can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
So you can't afford it.
Affordability.
And then Delaware, Maine, maybe people can afford it there more than the other places. But it's interesting statistics when you look at what state has the most
And then
owners.
you presented one interesting stat. You said in D.C., I think, is it 7 out of the 10 counties in D.C. are the most expensive counties to live in? What was the stat that you put out
I don't know what it was, but it was a very high, expensive too. And by the way, they have the biggest disparity of income.
Yeah.
Highest income earners in America live in D.C., but also the lowest percentage of income earners live in D.C.
Yeah.
The disparity between the two. And crime, how it is, it's unfortunate.
If you want to know why we have a $34 trillion deficit, debt, just look right at DC.
Let me talk about Keith Olbermann real quick, Rob. If you want to pull up that clip, Keith Olbermann is upset, guys. It's very important that you guys all take a moment and appreciate his frustration. He calls for Elon Musk deportation during unhinged rant. Get the F out of our country. Go ahead, Keith.
Time to cancel all the contracts and reassess his immigration status and hopefully deport him the hell out of the country. And if we can't do that by conventional means, President Biden, you have presidential immunity. Get Elon Musk the F out of our country and do it now.
What an emotional reaction. Not let's get the illegal immigrants out of here. Let's close down the border. Let's get the people who are basically taking jobs and making inflation run rampant and are basically killing the supply and demand of the housing situation. Let's get the one person who creates more jobs than anybody, the richest man in the world. We don't want that job creator here. Let's get the illegals in here.
Well,
now.
he got it all wrong.
Sense.
Keith got it wrong. I mean, there's something other. I don't know if he's drinking something, taking something. I don't know what it is, but he's completely upside down. What he didn't get the memo. You're supposed to yell into the microphone and threaten to move to Canada. You're not supposed to endorse deportation policy. That's completely upside down. How many celebrities have said, if Trump wins, I'm moving to Canada? Which really, you know, what they don't know is that's helped me in my in my family, helped me get a few cousins willing to vote for Trump, because if some of the knucklehead celebrities are going to move, they think that's a pretty good thing. So Olbermann is completely upside down. You're doing it wrong, Keith. You're supposed to threaten to move to Canada.
You know what's funny?
How many
Nobody's done
places
it.
has he been fired from?
All of them.
No. How many places, Tom? Honestly.
No, I think he's been fired.
He had feuds with his colleagues. So MSNBC's exit in 2011 was due to conflicts with management. He had a history of tense relationships with networks and coworkers. ESPN exit. He worked at ESPN multiple times and has been fired
twice.
Or
at least twice.
He's just an angry, like, and mind you, but besides just him and his personality and what he's going through, like, I hope he gets help. But the Trump derangement syndrome phenomenon is they're going to talk about it for years to come. All that legacy, Pat, all that mainstream media that we all talk about, it has infected people's brains like him and Rosie O'Donnell.
This is cancel culture. I don't like what you said, Elon. Cancel you.
Yeah, exactly. And just that, and I feel, dude, I genuinely feel bad for these people. And who was the person that debate that happened with Adam Schiff? Where the guy's like, Steve Garvey, you're letting one person, you think about this man every single day. Like, he has infected your mind, and it's the mainstream media. I wish there was a way for them to sue CNN and all these people, because you guys have infected you infected this.
Did you see what Jim Brewer did? And I haven't talked about that. Rob, did you see this? You're a comedian. You know about Jim Brewer.
Yeah, I know.
Did you see how it was a great bit that he did about TDS? Incredible. You can probably find it right now. He's basically saying that people hear their name and they just they start
they can't take
freaking
it.
out.
Yeah.
He's an insurrectionist. He's just a white supremacist.
Yeah.
He does an amazing bit. You can probably find it on YouTube.
And they
under
can't
Jim
help
Brewer
Adam.
Trump.
And it's just, and they can't, like, I didn't know you back then when you hated Trump, but
I never said hate. I never said hate. Pat knows this.
But I don't think you were this level.
I wasn't a fan.
You weren't this level of just anger and then bitterness.
But this is the reality. Rob, you find it on YouTube.
I mean, I know the bit that you're talking about.
Yeah, here it is, right here. Here it is. Can we play this?
No, before you do, Rob, can we or no? If it's part of his shtick, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't.
No, don't play.
Yeah, gotcha. But he basically does an amazing impersonation of people who are just freaking out when they hear his name. And this is the whole situation. They are not willing to even listen to any policies or factor any of that in. It's they see him, orange man bad, I'm out.
I have a theory. I think when you're above 60, no kids, not married, you become like a woman above 60, not married, no kids. And what does that mean? Now, you may say, come on, how could you say stuff like that? You know, we're talking about marriage and relationships. When I was a kid, I didn't want my parents to marry anybody else when they got a divorce. You don't want that as a child. You're like, no, I don't want that to happen. As you get older, you know what you realize? You wish they did.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs company. You need somebody to argue with. You need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to go through issues. You need it. And if you don't, you become... You have to pick fights with everybody. Your way of being relevant is then you fight your kids, but then if you don't have kids, you fight your friends, and you fight your siblings, and your siblings are like, dude, just leave me alone, man. I don't want to talk to this person. Every time it's a fight with this guy, right? You know, fight. So you need company. And Keith is single, 65, no kids.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's 65, I think.
Angry.
So this is his daily exercise. This is his cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's not healthy, man. Man was not made to be 65 years old by himself. God created the opportunity to have kids, to have things to work through with, to learn about patience. Kids will teach you a lot, and they'll reveal a lot. The other day, we're driving the car, and we're going red lights and stop signs, and I'm crossing this, California stop sign. What do you call it? California?
A California stop. You just kind of roll?
California stop. And, Dylan says, well, Melva just fully stops. And then Jen's like, oh my gosh, shit, I got to fully stop because these guys are watching the way I drive.
Yeah, of course.
So now I'm driving and I'm stopping. And Dylan's like, Dad, you're driving boring, Dad. Like, no. This is the responsible thing to do, right?
What are you doing?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to, kids will do something to you. It's a very weird dynamic when you go through it. This guy.
Pat,
there's one other thing.
That back up what you're saying.
I know.
It's not even just an opinion what you're saying. So people out there are like, oh, that's just Pat's opinion, Rob. But I sent you this. This is what I keep tracking is the gender divide on who's voting for who. So it's different between men and women. But when you get into parents and who has kids, this is actually very interesting. Harris holds a slight edge over Trump. Keep scrolling down. There's two major images that they basically go through right here. Here it is right here. Harris is a slight edge propelled by women. That's the overall. Whereas women are, 48-35 towards Kamala. Men, 39-47 towards Trump. By the way, if you scroll down a little bit, Kamala, here it is, guys, breaking news. Kamala has the non-binary vote on lock. Look at that thing right
It's
there.
over, boys and
It's
girls.
over, guys. The he,
November
hims, the
5th.
she, theys, the they, thems, all these guys, the Transformers, she's got it. But if you scroll down, this essentially validates what PBD is saying. This is married versus not married parents. When you have kids, something about your mindset, what you're talking about here with Keith Olbermann, starts to set in, whereas
parents are for Trump. Look at that.
Parents are for Trump.
Moms are for Trump.
Moms are for Trump.
Dads are for Trump.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
this
something
is-
there.
that's
When you
a-
have family values
What
and
about
you care
gay,
about
what
your
about
kids.
gay dads?
Gay dads are actually more for Kamala.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know why, but it's part of the non-binary
But
thing. I don't know.
when
We'll
you look
investigate
at
that.
this explains why. So why would you be for Trump? Why would you be for Trump? Actually, think about it. Why would more moms and dads and parents be for
Because they don't want
conservative, fiscally, taxes, safety? Why would you be?
Yeah.
Because you have somebody else you have to be thinking about their dreams, their safety, their security, rather than yourself. Keith wakes up every day thinking about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's his life.
Remember I pointed out that interesting stat between Trump, Elon, and Tucker? They have 20 kids between them. And between Kamala, I'm talking natural born kids, Kamala, Chelsea Handler, Taylor Swift, this whole crew, 0 kids. So it's very interesting here who really is the party of family values and not.
Rob, go ahead and play this clip. You're so funny. Go ahead, Rob.
Where's gays for Trump?
Gays
There
for
he is.
Trump.
You don't look good.
What would have even been better if he goes, you don't look gay, but you definitely look gay, buddy.
look gay.
He's like, I'm not even gay. What are you talking about?
Oh my
here?
God, bro.
How about you, buddy? No.
4 more years, I want it back so bad.
You don't look gay.
You don't look gay. Killing. Standing applause. Applause break.
He's actually getting funnier.
Let's talk about what happened with Chris Cuomo and his brother. Rob, you have this clip. Chris Cuomo says radicalized left Dems could sink brother Andrew if he runs for New York City mayor. Go ahead, Rob.
But look, here's the way I see it. I love my brother very much, and I never had to look outside my own family for role models. I feel like he's done so much, and there's such a high price for getting into that game now, especially in his party, that I don't know why he seems so motivated to serve. And I know he's hearing people tell him to run, but man, there's a lot of ifs in this.
Was that the clip, Rob?
That was the only one that was available, yes.
So anyways, they're not wanting his brother to run, and who's going to come after him are the same people that went after him, that went after Eric Adams. Is he going to have a chance of getting it? Who knows? But the reality of it is, I think he's going to run. I think I want him to run. And I'd like to see him piss some people off in New York. And even as a Democratic mayor, he'd be a lot better than de Blasio. Or who do they have right now?
Eric Adams.
Eric Adams.
By the way, is there
Not
anything
anymore. Eric
anything,
Adams got a timeout.
Eric Adams, what? Like, do you think he's going to go to prison?
Did something happen with Eric Adams recently? I don't know. Did you hear about that? I don't know. Is he going to even be the mayor anymore?
FBI.
What's going on with him and Turkey and Erdogan's?
Hang on, you got the Wall Street Journal thing that's got the grid with all of Eric Adams'
Did you see that?
staff?
Eric,
Did you see that?
It's Gotham City, bro.
Unfortunately, here's the bottom line in New York. I don't know if New York even wants a moderate Democrat at this point. They've gone so far
You'd be
left
surprised.
with the blood. Well, I get it. Outside of the boroughs, if you go to the Bronx or if you go to Staten Island, it's very much Trump country. We've seen some of these rallies, but within New York City, aside from Wall Street, I mean, it's become a leftist haven.
Keep voting for keep voting. This is exactly what you get. FBI indictments, the whole COVID hospital, nothing is going. Illegals get to beat the shit out of New York police officers and then flip up the bird and get out of jail the next day. It's like, who in their right mind? Keep voting for these people. And I get it. It's my party. Okay, keep doing it. And this is exactly what you're going to keep getting.
There's a famous song. It's called "It's My Party," and I'll cry if I want to.
Go for it. Yeah, go for
There it is. Girls just want to have fun.
Well, why don't we talk about something serious here?
Okay.
Like the top songs chosen by dying people for their final moments review.
This is it?
Folks, I'm going to read it to you.
Who wrote the story,
I
Pat?
want you to. This is by Daily Mail.
Oh, okay.
So they go through the list, and it comes onto this top 10 of what the stories are, okay? Mary Curie, an end-of-life charity, released a playlist curated by terminally ill individuals with favorites like Frank Sinatra and all these other songs. So they're terminally ill. They know they're going. What song do they want to play? And number one was My Way, Frank Sinatra. Number two was I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston.
And
Number three was The Best, Tina Turner. Okay.
Simply the
Number
best.
four was Baby Got Back. By
Stop
I'm
it.
just kidding. Adam is going to
I
go.
was like, big boy, I cannot lie, Pat.
Baby.
I'm
lie
gonna
about
die.
it.
I can't lie.
Yeah.
Number four is Over the Rainbow, Judy Garland. Number five, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper. Number six, Angels, Robbie Williams. Number seven, What a Wonderful World, Louis Armstrong, Sick, Louis Armstrong. Number eight, Beautiful, Christina Aguilera. Number nine, Hey Jude, The Beatles. Number 10,
Nice voice, Pat.
These Are the Days of Our Lives, Queen. Okay? Songs, playlist, end of your life. Vinny, what do you play? Adam, what do you play?
Staying alive. Staying alive. I'm not, I'm not trying.
I can see Vinny jump out of the casket.
Yeah, staying alive. Staying alive.
I only think of one song, but you want me to go first, Tom, or you want to go? I mean,
I'm trying to live, bro. To hell with that.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just thinking of the movie Old School where he's just like, I close my
Tom.
I just can't get out of my head.
Well, I've been to a couple funerals for some kind of odd family members, and I can remember all of us playing "What a Wonderful World" after they were gone. But I mean, it gets a little
Good riddance.
Jeez,
gets a little upside down, you know. But you know, some odd funerals in my family and everything. It's
Ding dong, the witch is gone.
no, well, there was that one. There was one of them. But then there's also, you know, when people are kneeling to pray and they look over their shoulder and they say, "Damn it, can you turn down the band?" So it's just like, you know, it's just kind of different. So I think this kind of lines right up with.
By the way, what is Rob? Can you go to the death penalty guys? Like, what's their last meal? You know, like, is there something to
Steak and
say?
eggs and
I would say
potatoes.
it's probably
PBD.
pizza, right?
No, some of them have not been funny. Like I've heard, I think Gary Gilmore, Utah, I think he said, "Let's do this." And it was just had his meal, said his thing, wrote a little note to somebody, and there's like, "Let's do this." I think
Zoom in, Rob. The final words of people, death row.
It's the final countdown.
Told his lawyer. So Ted Bundy told his lawyer, "I'd like to give my love to my family and friends." Rosendo Rodriguez, "I have fought the good fight. I have ran the good race. Warden, I'm ready to join my
by
father."
the way, he claimed to have a Christian conversion in prison. And so that was a faith-based thing. I've done what I've done. I've done what I've done. I'm going to be executed for it, but my mind and heart are a different place. and I'm
Timothy
ready to go.
McVeigh, "I'm the captain of my soul."
Yeah.
That was the Oklahoma City bomb.
Robert
right?
Alton Harris, "You can be a king or street sweeper, but everyone dances with the Grim Reaper."
That's actually intense.
Yeah. Interesting.
PBD, hold on. Other than Baby Got Back, what's your song?
Oh, what will my song be?
Another one bites the dust.
I would have to really think about that one.
Come on, PBD.
I would have to be.
It would be a Persian sort of.
I would have to really think about that.
Who's the guy you talked about? You're like,
Moeen?
please welcome to the stage,
Andy?
Andy.
No, it wouldn't be that.
Let me while you're thinking, what would be your last meal? What you're gonna? By the way, I don't even know if I have an appetite. But your last meal, your last meal.
Korma sabzi, not even hesitation.
That's Persian food for everybody. And what would be the last thing that you say?
Tom, what is your last meal?
Yeah, Tom, last meal.
My last meal? Honestly?
Yeah.
Communion.
Really?
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow. That's deep.
Now, I'm not planning on being on death row any day soon.
Yeah,
but I mean, but I'm saying,
Tom, have you not thought about this?
You know, if I was home in hospice care, 90 years old, surrounded with my kids, you know, and I knew that the moment was coming, I'd take communion.
I would want to eat? I would want something exotic so it would take long for them to get it, like puffer fish sashimi. Go to Japan. I'll be here, boys. Go get it.
But wait a minute, puffer fish could kill you.
I know, but if it's made the right way.
Permit.
Hey-o.
Adam, last meal.
I mean, for me, I've been doing this low carb lifestyle since like 2007, bro. I'm just load me up with carbs, and then I'm out the door. But
the big bowl of pasta you've always wanted.
Yeah,
Rob, can you type in Korma sabzi? It's a very easy word.
Yeah, Rob, you got this. Korma sabzi.
It's GHORME, E, and then E, not A. Is that E? E.
That's A.
Rob,
and then put Sabzi, S-A. It should come up automatically right there. Go
This
to
is you?
pictures, images. Go to images. Oh, my God.
Oh, guys,
we've
you
had,
have no
we've
idea.
had this at
Of course
Rafi's
you've-
place.
You've
This
had
is
it
incredible.
Yeah, this is like Gordon Sabzi. You eat it, you age backwards.
Ah.
Yeah.
By the way, Rob.
Benjamin Button actually ate this every day. It's a true
Are we going to
story.
get Rob's song or Rob's meal?
Rob, song and meal.
I don't have a song, but meal would be pizza and French fries.
So basic.
Rob, do you dip your pizza in like ranch or ketchup or no?
No, I actually like that. This is the ultimate fat guy thing. You take the French fries and you put it on the pizza. You fold the pizza in half, and then you eat the pizza.
Where are you getting pizza and French fries?
He makes two stops.
What he likes.
2 stops.
Why are
this
you
guy.
judging the guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just.
All right, let's go to the next
He's a
one.
great guy, this guy, Rob.
Piers Morgan has Jaguar right on. You guys even asked me a question about what percentage of what she says is accurate.
Yeah,
if you remember
said
that.
not very.
Can you
much,
play
right?
the clip of Piers? Is this the clip with Jaguar or is this the apology?
Yes. So I have both. I have Jaguar rights accusations against Jay Z and Beyonce, and then I have
okay,
Piers Morgan
do that. Go for it,
apologizing.
Rob. Yeah.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands.
Wow.
I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
Mr. Carter's who?
They're a nasty little couple.
Jay-Z.
They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious.
There's
a lot of things that
You can
people
tell.
don't want to talk about, Piers.
She about to do a fake
But, okay,
tear?
but hold on, but Adam, but here's the thing. And again, it always sounds crazy and wild until it ain't, because, and who knows? She's not credible or lie detector test or whatever. What if she's right? What if all these things that she's seen, because she was a dominatrix. She said she used to work at these parties and tie guys up and whip them and everything like that. She was about that life. So when somebody that's about that life tells you about the life,
you giving her a lot of credibility?
I'm not. But Adam, where is she coming up with this stuff? She was at these places. She's seen it firsthand.
I'm not denying.
She was there.
Here, if I listen, you can go
Play this clip first.
Okay,
Play this clip, then we'll react. Go ahead, Rob.
The shocking allegations levelled at Sean Diddy Combs have burst the floodgates on salacious claims about an industry many people believe harboured a monster. Understandably, the internet's ablaze with claims about these events and whether other powerful figures were involved too. Well, last week I interviewed Jaguar Wright, a singer-songwriter who's made claims about Diddy for years. Those claims had already received a lot of attention in the media across many platforms for many years. And that's the thing about platforms. The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves. But now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact. And we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay Z and Beyonce.
Okay, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
2 things can be true at once. Diddy could be an absolute dirtbag, guilty of everything, but also Jaguar Wright could be looking for her 15 minutes of fame. Prior to this week, this month, have you ever heard of this person?
I have.
So, okay, I don't know where parties you're at with that
No,
baby.
not parties, but she's been in front of the camera for a while.
I've never heard of her.
Okay.
I've been listening to hip hop since, Beastie Boys did Brass Monkey in '86.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this person. She's now, if you type in Google, if you type in Jag, what's the first thing that pops up? I guarantee you it's her. Not the Jacksonville Jaguars or an actual Jaguar. She's the first thing that pops up. So she's utilizing this 15 minutes of fame, and there she is right there. Here's what I'll also say about Diddy. This was
what song she was in?
No.
Big Pimpin'. You know what other song she was in?
Big Pimpin', spending.
You know what
G's.
other song?
That's Jay Z.
Yeah. You remember the movie with Denzel American Gangster, while that one guy comes out with the song Heart of the City.
Yeah.
You know the Heart of the City?
Yeah.
Ain't no more.
No, it was a remake
That's
of
her.
80s.
She's in it.
Okay.
She's in those two
She's a
songs.
backup singer.
She is,
She's
yeah.
not
Backup singer for Jay Z in 2001.
Okay, but she ain't Beyonce. She ain't
of course
Rihanna.
she has been around.
She's been around
not
them.
denying that
Yeah.
she's been around it. Like, they're interviewing her for a reason. Here's what I found the most interesting about Diddy overall. This was David Muir was actually, he's the ABC guy, big news guy. He was interviewing, I guess, the guy that's handling a lot of the sexual allegations about Diddy, and he's receiving a lot of phone calls. Here's the most interesting thing about these sexual allegations. Yeah, I don't know if it was him or a different lawyer, but it was on ABC. You can check that out. He goes, talk about a gender difference. It's so interesting about Diddy. He goes, prior to 2005, it was actually 50-50, these allegations that kept coming in, men and women. 50% men, 50% women. But how about this? After 2005, it was 90% men. Allegations. Something happened with Diddy, allegedly, where he went, this isn't it. But it went from 50-50 allegations, receiving these phone calls, receiving what's going on, doing all these sort of testimonies, to 90% men. When there's smoke, there's fire, Diddy.
Yeah, and
what's going on in that baby
Alex
oil?
Spiro, Pat, was on TMZ, and he said to those two guys, whatever their names are, I didn't send a cease and desist. I sent an ultimatum. Remove that false accusation, or a court is going to order you to.
Who said this?
That's Alex Spiro, right? That's it right there, Pat.
Shocking to you that somebody comes on a show and then kind of levels these vague-ish allegations. Were you kind of ready for something like this to eventually happen?
Listen, there's rumors and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, right? This is a pointed and formal accusation of something. I felt it needed to be responded to. So I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum, which is remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to. And so I think he made the wise choice and acted accordingly.
He meaning Piers Morgan.
Removing it and apologizing for it, yes. What changed here in my mind is that somebody on a so-called journalistic platform exploited that kind of random rumor mill, whether it's disconnected from reality
You can
or what
stop
have
it.
you.
But Pat, I mean, what I'm still trying to figure out. She is just saying, I've seen stuff. I have 3 people that could come forward.
She crossed the line.
Did she?
She crossed the line. Listen. This is the problem, and I've spoken to all of you guys here behind closed doors. There is, everything we talk about is, who knows? We're not there. Maybe. That's why we have hats that sell that says allegedly, right? You're not there to have witnessed it. There's a personal eyewitness. Then there's this. Okay. Last week, you guys asked me, what do you think about her, about what she's saying? And if you remember what I said is, that sometimes,
how much credibility she has.
you tell a story and it does so well, and then you do 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 interviews, and then now you have to embellish and exaggerate to keep getting people to want to invite you to their shows, and you have to keep making the stories bigger and bigger and bigger. She's crossed that line a long time ago. Now, by the way, I gave the Gianni Russo example. Remember Gianni Russo example when I said
he was a Marilyn Monroe. He did this, he did
and
that.
No, it's a little too much. Now, by the way, believe it or not, people like her actually can hurt real people that actually went through real things. Those people are like, get her off the big screen. Why is she talking, right? She should not be talking because she's making the rest of us look bad, okay? And I don't know. I don't know. What Alex is doing is he's just coming out and saying, hey, you crossed the line. And by the way, if he comes out and they decide to go after Piers, which is what they're doing, hey, take this down. It's not even a cease and desist. Take this down or else the court. All right. Now, the question is, Tom, did Piers do the right thing, taking it down?
Well, it all depends on what that letter said. And sometimes to avoid things from being expensive, Now, I think that did he do the right thing? I think he made a business decision.
Right.
We don't need to reach into our pocket and pay a bunch of lawyers and end up in court. And what are we going to be doing in court? We're going to be defending, our journalistic right, or we're to be defending Jaguar. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do either one of them. And so, but in his statement, he very carefully said, at the time, I pointed out these were big claims and that Jay Z and Beyonce aren't here to defend themselves. Well, apparently that wasn't enough. The other side of it is you really got to be careful what you protest, right? What is Jay Z and Beyonce protecting? Well, they're protecting their reputation. Yeah, but you're in the music industry. There's all this stuff going on right now. Do you just let all the BS fly, or do you draw a line in it and say, I'm not going to be part of it? They got their lawyer to go draw a line and say, I'm not going to be part of it, because there's all kinds of people saying all kinds of things. And so do you spend your day chasing every wild thing that is said while all these people and alleged victims and other people that are just trying to be opportunistic or saying stuff? Do you run around and try to, you know what I'm saying, Pat? You could end up playing whack-a-mole.
But you have a guest on that says it. You're not agreeing with it.
Mm-hmm. And at the time he said they're not here to defend themselves.
But I don't know why he would take it down, though. Why do you take it down? I didn't say it. She said it. There's a slippery slope here.
Well, there is. He made a business decision which says that.
Not comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like, we like Piers. Piers is a good guy. You guys are both on his program, but that doesn't shade our view here.
Someone told him that this is what we're doing, and you have to follow that lead. But there's a part of it, like if you say it, you're held accountable. We'll apologize.
Mm-hmm.
If we say it,
yes.
But if a guest says it, I don't know.
Rob made a good point. Rob said, Did Bill Gates or Reid Hoffman's attorney send letters to Elon or Tucker? They accused them of being on Epstein's island and saying, "Oh my God, he's going to expose them." I mean, that's
Trump's lawyers sent emails and letters to CNN, MSNBC, mainstream, everybody.
Yeah, see,
did they? I don't know.
I don't think so.
How many accusations since 2016? Russia collusion.
Oh man,
who sent those letters?
You can end up playing whack-a-mole to the end of time.
I don't like this.
Did you see what Piers Morgan says?
Like
on a show called Uncensored.
I mean,
we kind of don't want to censor.
Yeah.
But then you saw the thing with Alan Greenspan that we showed. I'm not Alan Greenspan.
Alan Dershowitz.
Alan Dershowitz. Sorry.
Play that one as well, Rob.
Yeah, about when he's, I think, arguing with.
We didn't show that. We showed it.
The jihadist guy, Mohammed Hijab.
So this guy, because I mean, Piers goes up against these, the guys that are pro-Hamas and he always debates, the Israel-Palestine situation.
Like this to be is a civilized debate between two people.
That's the intro, Rob. Go back. Yeah, go back to. There's one that's not an intro. That could be it.
Here it is. He's going to sue him.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Please, can I give you the facts?
Yes, you can respond.
Let me give you the facts. Yeah. Okay, the facts are in 2005, I was there in Israel when the Israeli government.
Are you sure you were not in Epstein's house? Did you touch Virginia?
Did you touch her? On Israel,
did you touch Virginia?
Some of which.
Did you touch her? Did you touch that woman?
Never heard of her. Never met her. Never met her.
Don't lie.
Never. She.
Don't lie to me. Did you touch that woman or not?
I'm telling you. I never met her, and she acknowledged
Did you
in
touch
writing,
that woman?
under oath,
Did you
that she
sexually
may
assault her?
have
You have no knowledge of his case, do you?
Else.
You wouldn't be
United States occupied Germany, Great Britain occupied Germany. You can have a military occupation as long as there is belligerency that continues.
Your former friend Epstein, and be quiet for a second. Pretend I'm Epstein, your former friend, and be quiet and listen to what I have to say. Yeah?
Please, can I give you the facts?
Yes, you can respond.
No, that's not the one he talks about. He basically what do you call him again?
Just type in pervert.
Pervert. He goes, all right, now you've crossed the line and I have to sue you.
Yeah, he goes defamation. Yeah, and in courts.
Right, go ahead.
Just called me a pervert. He will be sued now for defamation, and we will be able to resolve this in a court of law. I guarantee you that he will be sued.
In my understanding, you are a pervert because you are acquainted with Jeffrey Epstein.
Has now withdrawn her
I've got my own defamation cases. I know the law very well here.
That
you
she
can't
may have confused me with somebody else, and calling me a pervert will result in a defamation lawsuit in an American court and in a British court. I assure you of that. He just called.
I don't know.
I mean,
first of all, how long did it take until he crossed his arms when he said, "Did you touch?"
Quick.
Yeah.
Quick.
So, but to me, okay, if he wants to sue him, I get that.
Yeah, he wants to go after him
Because
personally.
he is suing him.
The person that said
But
it.
why would he sue Piers?
Not the platform.
Yeah, I don't understand
I'm
that.
very confused with this, to me. Then this is why, Rob, if you want to go to it, if you want to protect yourself, get an allegedly sticker.
I have to say this.
Okay? Get an allegedly shirt. Okay, go back, Rob. I even think we have an allegedly hat. If you go there, there's
Oh, I didn't even
stickers.
see those.
By the way, the allegedly hat is sick.
Where'd you, I never even
Although
seen that.
I really like the description that we have. This is allegedly a black and white hat. But actually, it really is a hat.
Rob, put the link below for people to want to see it. You can just go to allegedly.
I never even
and
know
you'll
we
see
had
it.
the hat.
Yeah. No, but the point is, I am uncomfortable with Piers being forced to take something down for something his guest said.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's a little bit of a slippery.
Yeah, because if you let us argue and we go at it and we yell at each other,
Well,
how is that on you?
Isn't the whole premise that you have to at least push back? That's the whole premise. If you're going to have someone that makes shocking allegations and wild stories and just makes things up, if you sit there and go, okay. But I'm saying, but Pat, isn't that the whole premise? You have to be like, well, how are you sure about that? If you push back, I guess that's above guidelines.
Because I don't know how you hold that with podcasters. Like there's guys that interview and they ask a question, say nothing for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a podcast. And you're going to hold that person accountable? It's a little weird.
Well, there's misinformation.
I'll give
disinformation.
you a closing thought on this and we can move on. Precedents in law have long arms. And what happened to Fox with Dominion has long arms, ladies and gentlemen. And there are producers. Pierce isn't going to write that check. There are producers, and then there is a platform or a network that's carrying it. And they're all, I can imagine, a little gun shy. And how easy would it be, Pat, to do it this way? Pierce, you don't have to apologize personally, but you do have, let's do this, and let's do this, and then let's get rid of this. Why do we want to, go to court and have a hearing over this? We're ending up defending Jaguar right. Let's not do that.
Exactly.
Why don't we do this? Just say something nice and say you're taking it down, but be sure that you commented the show is uncensored. And at the time I said, hey, Jay Z and Beyonce are not here to defend themselves. And I think they just took kind of the chicken way out. But that precedent on Dominion versus Fox versus News Corp, it has long arms. And I believe you're seeing some of that here.
Yeah. Well, long arm, Stacey Augman, Dominion, or whatever you want to call it.
Stacey Augman.
Plastic
president.
I don't know, man.
Pat will give you references out of nowhere. UNLV running Rebels.
I don't know about this.
Tark the Shark.
Listen.
Precedents punish and legal.
Before we wrap up, okay? And these are allegedly, Vinny has certain things he wants to say about this guy named Doug.
Oh,
Vinny.
Okay.
What are allegedly accusations being made? On Doug. Let's practice.
Okay,
right now.
I love that you let me.
Rob,
thank you
is
for.
this not great?
I don't know. Listen, I don't know, but I get the vibes. Allegedly, if I had to guess, Kamala Harris's husband, aka second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, and the left calls him a wife guy and a feminist ally. Turns out, allegedly, he's anything but. So I love this word, according to the Daily Mail report, Emhoff is facing some serious accusations about the time when he was running the Los Angeles office at his prestige law firm, Venable, from 2006 to 2017, okay? He's being called out for being overly flirty with women at the firm, retaliating against those who didn't return his advances, and even hiring a model as a trophy secretary. His staffers said that he would single out pretty young women and take them out on limos. Multiple sources claim that he refused. He wouldn't promote women who didn't flirt with him back. He yelled at female staff, and then he bragged about it to his buddies. The law firm even got hit with a sex discrimination lawsuit from a former secretary, Marjan Rabbi, who said Emhoff hired, Robbie actually, an unqualified young woman named Katya just because she was attractive. And guys, it doesn't stop there. His personal life. The Daily Mail also revealed that Emhoff's first marriage broke up because he had an affair with the family nanny who he allegedly, there we go, impregnated. And let's not forget.
That's actually probably even not allegedly. I think that's sort of a true
Well, it's
story. From what I'm hearing sources, I can't confirm.
Yeah, and I'm trust
I
me,
don't know
I'm
about
getting
everything
there.
else.
And
though,
I'm getting
just
there.
this one story.
And there's another alleged rumor that he was bragging that she had a miscarriage or she lost a baby because of him and his attitude towards her. But that's not. I'm neither here nor there. Now. There's
Vinny, remember now, he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Tom Morgan. Let's not forget, he had an assault allegation in 2012 at the Cannes Film Festival. 3 of the alleged victims' friends came forward and said that Emhoff hit his girlfriend so hard that she spun around, and he did it because of a certain way she was talking to the valet. Okay? And I just want to point out, can you imagine if this was Trump or anybody, a Republican spouse or anything, they would have been crucified. I just want to give people a heads up. This guy is one step away from being in the White House. Hear me out. And what pisses me off the most is that the left praises him as a feminist ally while acting like he's a complete hypocrite. Okay, and despite this, they're calling him, this is what Jen Psaki, I call her the gender swindler, she parades him around as a model of masculinity. This is where she's praising him for, and I quote, reshaping the perception of masculinity. Rob, can you please play this clip?
An interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. And I'm not sure you planned on that, but you are an incredibly supportive spouse. Has that been an evolution for you? And do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
It's funny, I've started to think a lot about this. I've always been like this. My dad was like this. And to me, it's the
interesting.
So, you know who this reminds me of? What the left does? Do you guys remember Stormy Daniels' creepy porn lawyer? What was his name, Rob?
Michael Avenatti.
Michael Avenatti. Do you guys remember?
Now an inmate.
Yeah, the left was praising him. They were on The View. They were like, "Oh my God, you could be the president. Why don't you run for president? You're so presidential." They always lift up these people, and then what happens to them, Tom?
Not every time they do it. I'll tell you. I could tell you one time they didn't.
Bill, take it easy. But guess what? Michael Avenatti was stealing all this money from Stormy Daniels, and he's in prison for how many years, Rob? Another
14 years.
14 years. And I just want people to know, because this Emhoff,
he stole settlements from his clients.
Yeah, he's a scumbag. But I just want people to know, second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, nobody knows about him. These stories aren't mainstream. Daily Mail kind of reports it, but I just want to give people a heads up of who this person allegedly is. Sleeping with the nanny while you're married.
Rob, can you pull up that New York Post story? The New York Post. Is this it? Yeah, go a little lower. Treasury, secretary. No, what is it? Keep going. Keep going. Is this the Katia girl?
Is that her?
So,
how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Let me zoom in a little bit.
Katya, identified the Daily Mail. Katya Calderon, 36, was hired the same year Emhoff and Harris wed, according to the Mail. I mean,
I don't know anything about her, but she seems like a very nice person.
You let her babysit again. Yeah, she's hot. She's hot.
No, I don't know. I can't.
I mean, listen, say what you want about Doug. At least he has really good taste. But I mean,
she seems sweet.
Listen, I don't know about any of those stories with Doug. I have heard about the pregnancy thing. I will say, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty confident that he is the chairman, founder, CEO of the White Dudes for Harris.
That's him.
Campaign. I think that's him.
Yeah, but
not only is he the president, he's also a client. So
yeah,
go back to that picture there. Go back to that picture.
And while Tom's looking, and Pat, because I don't know about how you guys act, but the Democrats told us,
roll
believe all women. I believe every single woman, everyone, the nanny, the wife, all
the other picture, Rob.
Who is that, Rob?
Who's that,
Is that
Rob?
him? That's not him.
Back up one picture.
Katya, hang on 1 second. Let me see, Rob. Let me read the bottom of that.
Katya was hired.
The lawsuit, Katya was hired because Young went from. But who is that guy? That's not him.
No, that's definitely not.
Go to the next picture.
That's Doug. He's shaking hands with Air.
CEO of
Keep going.
White Dudes for Harris.
Keep one more.
There's that nice person again. I don't know where.
Hey, wait, right there. This picture is photoshopped because if you're married to Kamala, you're wearing the headphones.
Thomas Dub. Is that a helicopter, Matt? Or they're in a boat?
I don't know.
I just want people to know who he is and what all these allegations. And again, I believe every single woman because I was told by the Democrats to believe all women.
Can't believe every woman.
Adam, Democrats told me to believe all women.
Vinny, you can't do every single woman.
Actually,
everyone?
How much does who the president's wife or husband is matter?
Not much.
What percentage would you give to it?
I don't think anybody's. I don't think most Americans even know who he is.
But you know, I wanted to do the story, Pat, and thank you for because you need to know who this person is. Allegedly, he has a lot of stuff with women going on. So.
Something about him, I'd rather look at Melania. I don't know.
Well,
People are saying.
In all honesty, Pat's asking a great question. So what does the spouse to the president, first gentleman, first lady, what does that mean? Nothing during the election. Zero during the election. But once they're in office, they use it for marketing purposes. W's wife, Bush, education, everything about her. She was there.
Michelle Obama with eating healthy in the schools
correct,
and all that.
Exactly. And so they pick a cause or they pick a lane.
Melania, no bullying, ironically.
Betty Ford was told just to get drunk. Right?
No. Go easy on that. You don't know the story of Betty Ford. Betty Ford was a survivor that established something and was very transparent about her challenges.
Don't get on Tom's bad side. Don't get on Tom's bad side. Don't do it.
Yeah. I don't think it matters anything during the election, but afterwards they find a lane for the first lady, and there's usually trying to put some noble cause that brings good image to the president because his
totally. Just look at Joe Biden.
I know
Joe Biden congratulated Joe for answering all the questions.
You did so good, honey.
But Pat, think about
Pat, what you're saying.
But here's the point. My point is, if all these allegations, the impregnating that just goes to his character. He could be in the White House. Would you want somebody like that in the White House?
I don't know if this is a fight to fight against your opponent.
No.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
This is not
like if you're gonna sit there and tell those stories versus Trump or whatever. That's not.
It's easy to.
It's not a story that is a good story to compare. It's just this is the one you're like, okay, good, go through.
Go ahead. Yeah,
and
you did your thing, Vin, but I don't know how much.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, obviously, what I know for a fact is you're not going to be kicking it with him.
I'm not hanging out with Doug.
I know that for a fact.
Second gentleman, Doug Emhoff.
No.
You sure?
You're not going to be kicking it with him.
Sounds like a great guy. Allegedly.
But what was it? The Post? Because your coverage comes from the Post.
Right.
But the Daily Mail thought it was important enough to put that article together.
Gang, we love you. We had a good time with you today, 2 hours. Rob, do we have anything tomorrow or no?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
That may change.
We'll keep you posted. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye.